Fortnite has seemingly gone down the freeway of video games from 0 to 100 very quickly, but it's managed to pack in a whole load of references to other parts of popular culture, including other video games, and you may not have even picked up on them. So today, we're going to show you some of the things we've spotted in Fortnite. But before we get into some of the coolest hidden references and nods both to and in Fortnite, make sure you subscribe to TheGamer and ring that bell to join our notification squad so you never miss any of our epic Fortnite videos. One of the many awesome things about Fortnite is the way in which the game's map is subtly but constantly changing. If you look at the map from when the game first launched and compare it to how it looks now, there are enough differences to make you sit up and realize the evolution of Fortnite. One of the coolest changes, which was introduced back in Season 5, was the racetrack. Now you could compete with the rest of your squad, provided no one was trying to take you out and the storm wasn't headed your way of course, and race your ATKs to your heart's content. It was this ready-made feature which inspired people to find and create their own reference to one of the greatest racing games ever. Redditor Josh BC took things a step further when he built Tilted Track, an homage to the great Mario Kart franchise in the playground mode. Now Josh BC and his squad can take a step back from the challenges of the Battle Royale mode and recreate Nintendo's classic from the comfort of their own gaming devices. We love Mario Kart and Fortnite, so we love this. While Fortnite is the biggest thing Epic Games have done, it didn't come out of a vacuum. You see, before there was Fortnite, there was Unreal Tournament. All the way back in 1999, PC gamers were faced with a shooter where you played head-to-head matches against a load of other players to decide who would survive and who would be annihilated. Sound familiar? Well, yes, exactly. There's no doubt that Fortnite's got a fair few fans who were into the various incarnations of Unreal Tournament, which if you think about it makes sense. It also makes sense to see nods and references to the UT franchise, as well as a cameo from one of its most iconic characters. Malcolm, the genetically engineered combatant, has appeared in every Unreal Tournament so far, and has become popular for his general toughness. Now, while playing Fortnite and scrolling through some potential characters in the Save the World PvE mode, gamers discovered it was possible to play the game as Malcolm. That's right, Epic Games took him from the realms of Unreal and into Fortnite's world. The godlike Mike was doing his thing in a game of Fortnite when something caught his eye. He was in one of the game's empty houses somewhere near Snobby Shores and was standing by a bookshelf. It was there that he noticed that the cover of one of the books looked like it had one of gaming's most iconic characters on it. Sonic the Hedgehog was Sega's attempt at creating a character who could carry the franchise and be to Sega what Mario was to Nintendo. Unlike other attempts, hello Alex Kidd, Sonic actually worked. The little blue fella proved to be a success, which prompted the legendary, iconic 16-bit rivalry between Nintendo's SNES and Sega's Genesis. Although the Sega Dreamcast failure meant the company stopped making consoles, they do keep making games, and Sonic is as big a star now as he's ever been. The godlike Mike also believed he saw one of Sonic's best-loved supporting characters on the cover of the book in Snobby Shores 2. Knuckles the Echidna first showed up in the third game in the series and has since developed quite a following of his own, enough to see him make a sneaky appearance in Fortnite. Epic Games knows that with Fortnite, they've got a seriously hot property in gaming. They also know that people who play Fortnite are likely to dig other parts of popular culture, and one attempt at giving a nod to another franchise from outside the world of gaming sparked a little bit of controversy accidentally. In case you haven't seen Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy movies, well, you probably need to very soon. Seriously, they're brilliant. Anyway, the films, based on some of the lesser characters in the Marvel comic book universe, center around Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord, who's taken away from planet Earth and into a whole galaxy of adventure. Anyway, Epic Games tipped their hat to him with the Rust Lord skin, and fans of the game and the movies were happy. There was one problem which no one could have foreseen. The term Rust Lord ended up being used as an insult. One Redditor, Triangle Choke, had their kid sent home from school with a note, saying he had upset another pupil by calling him Rust Lord. Ouch. Seems like this skin didn't quite have the dashing excitement Epic Games were aiming for when they created it. Fortnite's nods to pop culture aren't just limited to other games. Sometimes they refer to iconic movies, and in the world of anime, there's very little that's more iconic than Fist of the North Star. In case you don't recognize the title, it's one of the first anime films to get popular traction outside of Japan. Directed by the late great Toyo Ishida, it tells the story of a post-nuclear wasteland and how some martial arts master fights for vengeance, honor, and respect. It's based on a manga, and if you're okay with a bit of violence, well, quite a lot of violence actually, but you know how it is, you should definitely consider checking it out. Anyway, if you're clued into Fortnite, you might just know how Fist of the North Star is referenced in the game. Well, in the Save the World PvE mode, there's a certain trait which is available to some characters in the Outlander class. It's called Fist of the South Moon, which, if you know Ishida's classic, doesn't need much of an explanation where it got the name from. Okay, it isn't the coolest trait in terms of what it does, but we love the awesome 80s anime reference. Even if you've never watched a single episode, Saturday Night Live's influence is everywhere. From the Blues Brothers through to Wayne's World, the show has inspired countless movies. And from Dan Aykroyd to Eddie Murphy to Tina Fey, has helped launch some of the biggest names in comedy. So you don't need to have seen it. You don't even need to be American to know that if it's live, if it's from New York, and if it's Saturday night, it's a big deal. Anyway, this brings us to one of the biggest things in Fortnite, the emotes. Getting down and shaking it is a key part of the game. Well, as long as you do it in a safe place. And one of the most recent moves is cribbed from an iconic Saturday Night Live sketch. The Llama Bell is a nod to the legendary More Cowbell skit, which saw Christopher Walken play a record producer and Will Ferrell play a musician who were determined to insert some sweet, sweet cowbell into Blue Oyster Cult's legendary 70s rock classic Don't Fear the Reaper. Only this time it involves a llama, obviously. We've got a fever, and the only cure is more Fortnite. Fortnite's love for all things pop culture has led to some massive speculation about whether it'll end up doing a crossover with another franchise other than Marvel's Avengers. While discussions about a crossover with another franchise could be happening right now, one of our favorite ideas was for something which sadly never happened. It was a shame it didn't happen because it could have potentially been one of the most awesome things of all time. Back in Season 4, there was a loading screen in the style of Jurassic Park, which got so many people worked up that they ended up thinking there'd be a crossover between the Spielberg franchise and the game. Sadly, this hasn't happened yet, although we think it could potentially be absolutely amazing to get some kind of dinosaurs in there. Sure, they have the Rex and Triceratops skins, but we would spend some of our hard-earned V-Bucks to see an emoting Velociraptor. Also, this is kind of a gaming nod as well as a movies one, since there have been plenty of games based on the films, which in turn were based on a novel by Michael Crichton. If we had to pick a favorite, we'd go all the way back to the 90s for Jurassic Park on the Super Nintendo. While Fortnite Season 6 was all about the spookier side of life, what with it running around Halloween 2018, that doesn't mean the game hadn't paid homage to classic horror earlier on in its life, as King S Gaming found out. Luckily for us, he didn't just find it out, he shared it with the world on YouTube, which was very nice of him. Thanks, King S Gaming. Anyway, in Greasy Grove, if you looked around, you'd find a drain on the floor. Nothing unusual about that, you may think. What is a bit unusual, though, are the 3 balloons coming out of it. Well, it was a bit unusual unless you were familiar with either of the movie versions or the classic horror novel It by Stephen King. In which case, you would have known this was a reference to Pennywise the Clown, who, spoiler alert, lured kids to their doom in the sewers of the fictional city of Derry, Maine. Even the Take the L emote is a reference to Pennywise's dance. If it was a reference to Pennywise, the iconic skate punk band from California, then we aren't 100% sure we know which part of their career it's a nod to. It's the humor, wit, and invention which we think gives Fortnite its edge. Sure, there may be games out there which are more playable, but they don't make you laugh in the same way Fortnite does. Also, they can't get away with knowing winks in the general direction of pop culture the way Fortnite can, and because Fortnite can, Fortnite does it a lot. It isn't just what's modern and what's hip that you'll spot references to in the game, though. No, there are some things which older players will know far better than today's kids. For instance, let's look at the sleuth outfit. At first, it looks like it could be just any old hard-boiled private eye from any old dark and gritty film noir. But take another look and make sure you've swatted up on neo-noirs from the 70s. If you have, then you'll notice the sleuth's hat, tan-colored trench coat, and crucially, the bandage over the nose all point to one character, J.J. Jake Gittes, as played by the always wonderful Jack Nicholson in 1974's Academy Award-winning classic Chinatown. It looks like someone at Epic Games really does know their movies. Jimmy Bunny helped fans of Fortnite save the world, and we thought we'd pay tribute to his sterling work. While Fortnite's explosion happened this year, where it dominated everything in the world of video games, becoming a genuine phenomenon, their seeds were sown when the game came out in 2017. The basic mechanics were always there, it was just up to gamers to come and catch up with them. Likewise, it was always throwing out some pretty cool references, meaning it was able to stay in the memory of all those who played it, who in turn would tell all their friends about it. Even at the very start, fans of things that weren't Fortnite were able to spot references to the very same things in Fortnite Save the World. You know, the bit of Fortnite which isn't Battle Royale. For instance, one of the game's missions was called Keep Circulating the Tapes. What the mission was like was irrelevant, kinda, because there was an awesome reference in its name. If you've ever watched Mystery Science Theater 3000, then you might just recognize the phrase, which popped up during the credits of every episode. Of course, Fortnite isn't the only game where online is a big part of its success. Sure, it's a game that requires an internet connection, but there are other games where remote multiplayer is an option. Kwebbelkop has made a bit of a name for himself playing Grand Theft Auto 5 online, and he came up with something which saw the world created by Epic Games cross over with Rockstar's vision of a dystopian would-be Los Angeles. Welcome to San Andreas, and don't forget to thank the driver. Yes, this mod of GTA 5 is absolutely brilliant. In effect, Kwebbelkop's using the streets of Los Santos to play Fortnite, and it's something which has left us with blown minds. We aren't sure how he's done it, but it's basically all there. The skins, the weaponry, and even the ATKs are there. It looks like something which could appeal to the very small minority of video gamers who have gotten bored of Fortnite. Yes, somehow they exist. Well, we think they exist at least. This is a great idea, and we wonder if anyone's gonna follow it up. Those were just some of the references in and to Fortnite. What do you think is the best reference to Fortnite you've ever seen? Did we leave any good ones out? Let us know in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe to The Gamer for more Fortnite videos like this one. Thanks for watching.